let the flowers breathe in you. Breathe for yourself and breathe for the world.
Breathing in, I enjoy deeply my in-breath. Breathing out, I enjoy deeply my out-breath. Enjoy breath, enjoy out-breath. Breathing in, I see myself as a 5-year-old child, still alive within me. Breathing out, I smile to myself as a 5-year-old child, still alive within me. Myself as a 5-year-old child, smiling to a 5-year-old child in me. Breathing in, I see my father in every cell of my body, smiling to me. Breathing out, I smile back to my father in me. Father in me smiling, smiling back to Father in me.
I take refuge in the Buddha, the one who shows me the way in this life. I take refuge in the Dharma, the way of understanding and of love. I
September the 17th, the year 2006, and we are in the Ocean of Peace Meditation Hall, Deer Park Monastery. Tomorrow I will have to go back to France already. Sorry not to be able to stay here longer. This year we had a lot of retreats in Plum Village. We had a retreat for French-speaking people. A lot of them came. And we had a 21-day retreat on the subject of mindful breathing. Many Dharma teachers all over the world have come to Plum Village to attend that retreat. The retreat is very deep, very joyful, because most people are experienced practitioners. Many of them are Dharma teachers, monastics, and lay. And then we had the summer opening. A lot of people came. It's very joyful. Many children of many countries. On today's day, we counted there were 49 countries represented in the summer opening. And I had the opportunity to do walking meditation with the children. Once a week, only children. Because on that day, there is a Dharma teacher giving a Dharma talk, and all the grown-up people have to stay in order to listen. So only children went with Thich for walking meditation. Very wonderful walking sessions. Thich enjoyed very much. Their children were very young, but they enjoy walking meditation deeply. There was silence, but that kind of silence is very joyful, very eloquent. We did not talk at all. Even halfway, when we sit down, we did not feel the need to talk. It's so beautiful, so fresh, refreshing. And we look at each other, we look at the hills, the trees. We just enjoy each other, enjoy breathing in and out. Wonderful. Thich was very happy sitting with the children like that. They nourished me a lot. What is wonderful is that in Plum Village, they don't feel the need to watch television, to play electronic game, and they were perfectly happy. A television team from Paris came, and they saw me, they saw Thich walking at the children. The children was so quiet, so joyful, and they were amazed the first time they saw things like that. A lot of children walking with Thich peacefully, joyfully, and they don't need to talk. People won't believe it if they don't see with their own eyes. No television, no electronic games. And yet we were very happy together. And the television man, he knew that I did not have a lot of time for them. So he said, "Thầy, just one question." And his question is, how come that the children can be happy like that? What is your secret? You know, a secret, if you try to talk about it, it stops to be a secret. But because he asked a question and they were filming, that is why I cannot remain silent for a long time. Finally, I had to say something. And I said, the children are happy because their parents are happy. In Bangladesh, their parents are calm, happy. They are nourished by the Dharma, the practice, by the brotherhood and sisterhood. They take care of each other well. They look at each other with love, compassion. They talk to each other nicely. So when the children see their parents like that, they naturally become happy. It's very simple. There's no secret. He was very surprised to see, to know. He was eager to know why the children like to come and sit close to Thầy. And I try to explain. It's very difficult to explain, because there is no secret at all. Finally, Thầy said that, well, when you are fresh, when you are happy, when you are calm, and then you radiate energy of calm, peace, and the children, they like it. They like to come and sit close to someone who is calm, who is peaceful. That's all. Because the children, they need also peace and calm. The world is full of noises and violence and suffering. So the children also need peace and calm. Wherever there is calm and peace, they like to come and sit down. In the New Hamlet, there was a calligraphy, Drink your tea, written in French, Bois ton thé. And the French children were amazed. And they asked, why drink your tea? And then the nuns had to explain to them. And there was a visitor who came to talk to a monk. He could not stop his thinking and his talking. I think he was a philosopher. So the monk did not say anything. So he just enjoyed his tea. But the other person, the philosopher, he just could not stop. He's full of ideas. He continued to talk. And his tea got cold. He didn't know how to enjoy his tea. So, after a long time not seeing the monk saying anything, he stopped. And he asked, why don't you say anything? Why don't you say something? The monk said, drink your tea. It's very zen, trinket. But you know the French children, not many of them like tea. So they suggest Thai to write another sentence. Eat your ice cream. Monster grass. And they think that is zen enough. So he sat down and wrote monster grass. Eat your ice cream. It's very zen. And they asked Thai to write down in calligraphy so that they can take one home. And they said this calligraphy has a very deep meaning. Because in order to really enjoy your ice cream, you have to be fully present in the here and the now. If you are holding your ice cream, but you are thinking of the past, of the future, if you get angry, if you are caught in your projects, and then the ice cream will begin to melt, and it does not mean anything. So you have to get rid of your thinking, your anger. You have to be fully present in order to enjoy the ice cream. So if you bring yourself back to the present moment, become fully present, fully alive, and then the ice cream becomes something very real, and then there will be a real encounter between you and the ice cream. And eating ice cream like that means you eat in mindfulness and concentration, and the joy is great. So eating an ice cream is not easy. If you know how to be mindful, to be concentrated, and then eating an ice cream is a practice. It's very pleasant, very nourishing. But I told the children, don't eat more than 2 ice creams every day. Even if it is a good practice. But don't overdo it. I don't know whether that calligraphy, there's still some of that calligraphy in the bookstore of the New Hamlet. Maybe they should have taken them all. Monster glass. Eat your ice cream. And then for adults, they like another sentence they wrote. They said, you know, it's impossible for a cloud to die. A cloud can only become rain or snow. But a cloud, she can never die. It means that a cloud cannot become nothing. It is impossible for the cloud to become nothing. A cloud can become rain or ice or snow, but a cloud can never become nothing. And when you drink your tea mindfully, you see that you are drinking your cloud. So they try, drink your tea, and they add, drink your cloud. And the grown-up people like that. And they asked Thich to write a few more of that calligraphy. After that, you hear? Suddenly the sound. After the summer opening, 1 month, we had a big retreat on a theme of neuroscience. And many neuroscientists came, and also physicians, psychologists, psychotherapists. So many people came that the brothers in the apartment that they have had to turn away, many hundreds of them. There were more than 1,000 people attending that retreat on neuroscience. It lasted 7 days. But we managed to have one lazy day. Wonderful. And after the neuroscience retreat, we had a retreat for Italian-speaking people. They all came from Italy. Because one retreat a year is not enough for them. So they try to convince the brothers and sisters to have a retreat in Plumvillage. And they came by buses, hundreds of them. And after so many retreats, the permanent residents of Plumvillage, they were given 14 days of lazy days, 14 lazy days. But Thich did not have the chance to enjoy his lazy days. He had to go to America. Because we had to present the film to the Hollywood population. We had to announce the film, the Buddha film. Because a film corporation wanted to make a film on the life of the Buddha based on the book of Thich, All Path, White Cloud. And they intend to put aside $120 million in order to make a film. Very big film. And they want that people who go to see the film will receive the message of compassion, the message of tolerance and loving kindness of the Buddha. They want the film to be made in such a way that after you watch the film, you are transformed. Great ambition. And this is a very dedicated group of people. They really want to make a good film. They have been searching for a script more than 10 years. And finally they found All Path, White Cloud, the book that I wrote on the life of the Buddha. The book has been translated into many languages, and last year it was allowed to be published in Vietnam. A breakthrough. If before that all the books of Thich were not allowed to be published in Vietnam. And the book was available in Chinese in communist China many years before Vietnam allowed it. And one day from Hollywood, a group of people flew to San Francisco, to Berkeley, to talk with the publisher, Parallax. They want to negotiate with the author of All Path, White Cloud in order to get the right to make the film. And Travis, the director of Parallax, said the author is still alive. He lives in Plumvillage. You want to talk to him? Go to Plumvillage. So Mr. Modi, who was the director of the M film company, he flew to Plum Village with a number of his assistants. And we gave him one tea meditation. Among the people in that group, there was one congressman, Indian woman, a scholar who was doing research on the life of the Buddha and so on, a lawyer. And during the tea meditation, Dr. Modi was very surprised to hear that they offered the book. They does not want to take any money. Before that, there were friends who proposed that they should ask for a few $1 million. With that money, he can build a meditation hall in Upper Hamlet. He can help with building another meditation hall in Prajna Temple and so on. And we were in a shortage of funds building the meditation hall in the New Hamlet. But it came to his mind that if we get the money, and then things will become complicated. They wanted to be a spiritual partner only in the film. And he proposed that with only one condition, he will donate the right of the book. That is, the producer of the film, the director of the film, the screenwriter, and all the movie actors should come to Plum Village and practice for 2 weeks. Learning how to sit peacefully, how to enjoy breathing in and out, how to walk, how to look with compassion, so that when they write the script, when they act as a Buddha, as a monk, there will be true, authentic compassion, peace, and mindfulness, and not to pretend to be peaceful, to pretend to be mindful, to pretend to be compassionate. And they saw the point. They accept. So first we announced about the film in the Cannes Festival. There were a delegation of Plum Village comprising of monastics going to Cannes. That's the first time the Cannes Festival had monastics. And the nuns and the monks had the first occasion to meet with movie actors, movie actress, and studio directors, and so on. They were very talented people, very rich people. But we noticed that they have a lot of fear. They suffer quite a lot. And many young members of our monastic community, after having visited Cannes, wrote to say that they are very happy to be a monk, or to be a nun, and not to be a movie actor. So we wanted to announce to the Hollywood community about the film, and that is why did not have a chance to enjoy his 14 lazy days. He had to come to Hollywood, and together with His Holiness the Dalai Lama, he announced about the film. And he had found a very good screenwriter. He came here a few days ago. He had one guided meditation with us, one walking meditation with us, and one total relaxation with us. You know, he slept during the guided meditation and total relaxation. But we are happy because he had the chance to experience rest and peace and brotherhood, because it's very crucial to experience these things in order to write a good script. And Dr. Modi said, we want to have a good film. Money is not a problem, he said. Plum Village is already more than 25 years old, nearly 30. And I remember the day he started writing All Pathway Club. In the upper hamlet, there was no central heating in the upper hamlet by that time. And in his room he had only a wood stove. And he was toasting his left hand on the wood stove, and with his right hand he wrote All Pathway Cloud. And from time to time he would stop in order to make a cup of tea. Because on the wood stove there was a pan to keep the water hot. So he prepared a cup of tea. And he continued to write All Pathway Cloud. Every day he wrote about 2 hours or 3 hours. And sometimes he had to do research in order to be accurate. And I was very happy during the time of writing the book. It's like sitting 2 hours with the Buddha and having a cup of tea with the Buddha. Very nice. You live the life of the Buddha by writing his life, about his life. So although the material conditions were not sufficient, but happiness was there. The upper hamlet did not have enough room. That was about the second year of Plum Village. Plum Village just had 2 years old. 2 years. Plum Village was 2 years old. And I had a room on the second floor, and I slept with the children. I did not have a room for his own. He had to sleep with 4 or 5 children. We did not have beds. We just slept on the floor. In the morning, waking up, I saw the children sleeping in a very free style. In the beginning, we slept in ranks like this, in order. But in the morning, they move. And there were 2 young ladies, one from Switzerland and one from Belgium, helping to type the manuscript. Because they never wrote on a computer or on a typewriter. He wrote all his poems with a pen, except one. The poem on the little buffalo running after the sun. That poem he wrote on a typewriter because he happened not to have a pen. So he had to use a own envelope, roll into the typewriter, and he wrote that poem typing. Every other poem was written by hand. So O Pathway Cloud was also written by hand. And one a young lady who came from Switzerland, she was typing. She typed very quickly. And Huyền Châu, who came from Belgium, she was reading the manuscript for one to type. Huyền Châu has become a nun. She is here. She is Sister Quy Nghiêm. And one day, Đoàn told thầy that she typed listening to Huyền Châu. And at one point, she stopped typing, but she didn't hear anything. In fact, Huyền Châu had to continue dictating, but she just stopped like that, very quiet. So after waiting for 1 minute, she looked up and she saw Huyền Châu crying. She was reading a passage, a paragraph that was so moving. She could not continue to dictate. She was crying silently. I don't know whether Sister Quy Nghiêm remembers that. But Thầy was very happy writing the book, and Thầy believed that his readers will be happy also reading the book. I hope so. The book has been translated into many languages, and Thầy has received a lot of letters from many readers. So if things go nicely, in 2008 you have the film. And you might come together and look at the film here, right in Deer Park. In Hollywood a few days ago, a week ago, exactly 1 week ago, Thầy told the Hollywood community that the film, we want the film to be an instrument helping producing a kind of a collective awakening. Because the world in which we live is full of violence and despair. A number of us have become awake. We know what is going on. We know about global warming. We know about the killing of each other that continue every day. But so many of us still continue to live in forgetfulness. They don't seem to know, to be aware of what is happening. We do not have a lot of time to save ourselves, to save our planet, if we continue to live in forgetfulness. We continue to consume in such a way that there is no future for our planet, for our children. We are so busy with our small problems. We don't care about the earth. We don't care about our future generation. And if we continue like this, our civilization will be destroyed. Sure. If there is no awakening, if there is no collective awakening, there are awake people, but not enough. We have to produce a collective awakening. Otherwise, hundreds of millions of people will die. Our civilization will be destroyed. About 10 days ago, the Vietnamese ambassador close to UNESCO came to Plum Village with his wife and assistant. He was asked by UNESCO to come to Plum Village and asked Thich to come to Paris and give a talk on the Buddhist insight as how to get out of this present situation. They felt powerless, helpless. And when the Vietnamese ambassador mentioned Thai's name, other ambassadors, they said, well, invite him. Ask him to come here and tell us what we can do. So, Thai has accepted to come. That will be October the 7th. And I intend to say a few things, 3 things. The first thing is we need a collective awakening. And UNESCO is an organization for education, science, and culture. And they have the role to help people wake up. That's the work of education. And that is why the UNESCO should initiate a few kind of actions that can help people wake up. And they have to do it. Action and not just an appeal. And they is going to propose 2 things. The first thing is to organize a no-car day in the whole world. It might take 6 months in order to organize a no-car day, universal no-car day. And every citizen of the earth will refrain from using his or her car, except in case of emergency. And the earth will rest. No emission of CO2. And during that 6 months of preparation, UNESCO and ministers of education in every country will do their best in order to wake people up on the danger of global warming. That day is not an end by itself. That day is also a means in order to wake people up. If I were a school teacher, I'll talk to my students every day about global warming. And I will ask them to help me remind their father, their mother, to do something in order to stop this course of destruction. Maybe to start with a no-car day a week. In fact, Deer Park has decided and is observing a no-car day every week, that is Tuesday. The brothers and sisters in Deer Park have met, have decided that on Tuesday, no car. They don't go anywhere. They don't use the car inside of the monastery, outside of monastery. Even if a brother or sister had to take a flight, they don't use the car. They have to go on Monday to the town and stay there and take a bus to the airport or something, refraining from using a car. We start with one no-car day a week. We go shopping only once a week, and we try to use biodiesels. We try to bring the old car to the cemetery. And we try to use electric car or hybrid car. We want to reduce our consumption of car to 50%. And we are very happy about that, because all of us unanimously accepted that proposal. And we have sent a letter on our homepage asking all Sangha members worldwide to respond to that. And each family, if possible, will observe one no-car day a week. It may be a Saturday or Sunday, or depends on the situation. We try to get the kind of car that will pollute less, like a hybrid motor. Even if they go a little bit more slowly. And we are asking our friends in the Sangha, in America, in Europe, in Asia, in Africa, to respond. They send their decision to Deer Park, to Plum Village, and telling us what they decide to do in order to contribute to this practice of collective awakening. Sister Châu Nghiêm, Sister Jo will have make announcement later on this. But the first point that I will propose to UNESCO is to organize a no-car day for the whole world, and use that opportunity to educate people to produce the effect of collective awakening. And children, like adults, should learn about the situation, mindfulness of what is going on in us and around us. We should help the Buddha. The Buddha is an awakened person, and he tried to help people to wake up. Many of us have become awake, but still a lot of us still live like in a dream. We don't know what is going on. We don't know the danger that is awaiting us. That is why we should practice together, Buddhist and non-Buddhist, because everyone needs awakening. And Thich is going to tell the gathering in UNESCO that the director of UNESCO and all the ambassadors and their family should embody the awakening. While they work for a non-Kade, they have to live up to that kind of awakening. They have to drive that kind of car. That will not emit a lot of CO2. They have to go shopping, to consume in such a way that prove that a future will be possible for our children and their children. You have to embody the message that you want to send to the world. And with that, with UNESCO acting like that, and with ministers of education in every country acting like that, we hope that all of us in families, in schools, in workplaces, we could join. And that kind of awakening, collective awakening, will bring about our salvation. It takes about 100 years in order to go back to the state of safety that we had before. The second thing I am going to propose to UNESCO is that UNESCO will sponsor a summit meeting of spiritual authorities in the tradition of Islam, Christianity and Judaism. Because the war in the Middle East began with fear that we wouldn't have enough fuel. We have to control the area. But slowly, anger, frustration, despair come in. And the element of religious belief has come in. Osama bin Laden actually believes that he is fighting against an attempt to destroy Islam as a religion. The Arabian civilization as a way of life. They feel threatened as a religion, as a way of life. And they believe that they are on the side of God. They are ready to die for God, to protect their religion, their way of life, their civilization. And in America, we believe that we are fighting there in the name of democracy, the name of God also. We believe they are evil. They are only terrorists. They are not human beings. We have to kill in order to kill them, in order for the world to be safe. And our country is operating on the ground of fear. President Bush said that if we withdraw our troops And they will follow us till here. And that is why we have to continue. There is no hope. Because so much wrong perceptions on the part of everyone. There's a lot of fear, a lot of anger, a lot of despair. I had a brother who died in USA about a month ago. And he died peacefully, a very peaceful life, peaceful death, surrounded by his beloved ones. And still, family members still suffer. But people who die in the September 11th accident, they did not die peacefully like that. They died a violent death. There were no beloved one surrounding them at that moment. And in the Middle East also, every day people die violently. And no dear ones around, with no dear one around. And ground zero has stopped to be local. How ground zero has become non-local. It continues a little bit everywhere in our heart. And our heart is bleeding every day because people continue to die every day. Palestinians, Israelis, Arabs, Americans, and other nations also. So that night, about 2 weeks after my brother died, in a dream I saw him coming to me. And he was surrounded by his children and wife. And he told me, "Brother, let's go home together." In the beginning I said, "Oh, our home is not enough for all of us." But finally I was enlightened. I saw that our home is large. There's enough place for everyone. So I said, "Okay, let's go right now." And right after that, Thầy woke up. And he began to understand the dream. His brother died peacefully, surrounded by his beloved one. But in the Middle East, people continue to die after September 11th, a violent death. And thinking of the situation in the Middle East, for the first time, I was able to cry. And he cried for a long time. It's very difficult to cry, but he cried for about 1 hour. And after that he went to the kitchen and made some tea and recognized that what his brother told him in the dream was correct. If we look at each other and we recognize each other as brothers and sisters, and then we are already home. We don't have to go anywhere. And there is enough place for every one of us. I remember the sentence in the Gospel. In my father's house, there are many mansions. So he had the idea to sit down and write President Bush a letter, a love letter. And this is the letter, also handwritten. It's written on the 8th of August. The morning after the dream, Honorable George Bush, the White House, Washington, D.C. Dear Mr. President, last night I saw my brother who died 2 weeks ago in the USA coming back to me in a dream. He was with all his children. He told me, let's go home together. After a millisecond of hesitation, I told him joyfully, okay, let's go. Waking up from that dream at 5 a.m. this morning, I thought of the situation in the Middle East, and for the first time, I was able to cry. I cried for a long time, and I felt much better after about 1 hour. Then I went to the kitchen and made some tea. While making tea, I realized that what my brother had said is true. Our home is large enough for all of us. Let us go home as brothers and sisters. Mr. President, I think that if you could allow yourself to cry like I did this morning, you will also feel much better. It is our brothers that we kill over there. They are our brothers and sisters. God tells us so, and we also know it. They may not see us as brothers because of the anger, the misunderstanding, the discrimination, but with some awakening, we can see things in a different way. And this will allow us to respond differently to the situation. I trust God in you. I trust the Buddha nature in you, Mr. President. Thank you for reading this letter. And I posted the letter regular mail, not express. I have not received an answer. In Hollywood, I talked a little bit about this letter to a reporter of Los Angeles Times, and she wanted to have a copy, so I gave her a copy. She was very moved when she read the letter, because I do believe that President Bush has his Buddha nature. He has the seed of understanding and compassion in him. I know that he suffers a lot, especially during the night. And I hope that my letter can touch the seed of awakening compassion in him. I want to support him positively, so he can help us getting out of this very, very difficult situation, so that all of us will have more time to take care of the earth, producing collective awakening. We don't have much time. And it's my intention to propose to UNESCO to host a summit of religious authority, Islam, Christianity, and Judaism. The authorities of these three religions should come together to live together 1 month or 2 months or 3 months, and they will talk to each other, find a way out of the situation. They will call on their political and military leaders and tell them what to do, because we need the voice, clear voice of our spiritual authorities. They have been quite silent. And that's the 3 points I want to talk about when he go to Paris and talk to a crowd, to an audience of UNESCO. If you support by your action, if you decide like the brothers and sisters in Deer Park, if you set up a no-car day, if you are determined to reduce your consumption of fuel, and then Thai's voice in UNESCO will be stronger. And Sister Jonghyun will talk to you a little bit more about this. When you come to Deer Park and park the car down there and use your feet to walk, many good things will come together. First of all, you have a chance to practice walking meditation. From down there, you walk up to the meditation hall. You can enjoy every step. Not using your car up here, you keep the air clean. And you enjoy more. And you get in touch with the trees, the flowers, the people, the animals, the rabbits. And it is a real kingdom, a real pure land. If you drive your car up here, you lose the kingdom, you lose the pure land. So parking there, you begin to breathe in mindfully, breathe out mindfully. And with every step, you enter the pure land of the Buddha, the kingdom of God. You can enjoy being in touch with the wonders of life all around us. The sunshine, the rain, the trees, the flowers. Fortunately, the kingdom is still there, available. If you don't enjoy, it will disappear. The pure land also. So just one small decision, not using the car in the compound of the monastery, can already bring us a lot of joy. We make the kingdom, the pure land available. We have the time to enjoy every step. Remember this morning, several hundreds of us walk leisurely, quietly, peacefully, enjoy each other, enjoy every step. That is the kingdom in the here and the now. We don't talk, we don't hear anything like television or radio or even Dhamma talk. We just enjoy walking together in brotherhood, in sisterhood. That is already the kingdom of God, the pure land of Buddha. And when we sit together, breathing in and out together, not thinking about anything, not saying anything, enjoy our in-breath, enjoy our breath, touching our father, touching our mother, smiling to them. That is the kingdom. Why do we deprive ourselves with that kind of wonder? And every moment like that is healing, is transforming, is nourishing. And we have the capacity to do that individually and collectively as a Sangha. The brothers and sisters said that retreatants who come to Deer Park, they may carry a suitcase, and we may have a car running on electricity to bring a suitcase up to the solidity hamlet. And retreatants can enjoy walking from here, from down here, to the up to the solidity hamlet. And a very small decision, like not driving around the campus of the monastery, can already bring many good things together. That is part of the kingdom. Buddha means the one who is awake, who is mindful. Bud, the verb Bud means wake up. Buddha is the one who is awake. And we all, whether we are young or adult, we have the capacity of waking up. While we drink our tea, eat our ice cream, we can do it mindfully. We are truly in the here and the now. That is called mindfulness. Mindfulness of drinking tea, mindfulness of eating ice cream, mindfulness of driving our car. Mindfulness is the kind of energy that allowed us to know, to be aware of what is going on. What is going on is the world so beautiful. The kingdom is available. We should not waste it. We have to be here and now in order to get in touch with what is beautiful, refreshing and healing around us for our nourishment and healing. This mindfulness. Mindfulness helps us to eat, to nourish ourselves. And mindfulness helps us to see the danger awaiting us. And mindfulness allows us to see that violence is growing. There is despair. We are producing too much carbon dioxide. Is global warming of the earth. So mindfulness tells us what to do and what not to do in order for us to have a future, for our children to have a future. And that is why the practice of mindfulness brings about awakening. And that's what the Buddha wants to offer to us. And if we are a friend of the Buddha, if we are a student of Buddha, we have to continue the Buddha. We have to nourish our mindfulness. We have to nourish our awakening. And we have to help produce the collective awakening in the world. Each of us is a Buddha, should be a Buddha. Each of us should work for the collective awakening of the world. You hear the voice of Buddha very clearly. You should continue the work of the Buddha. You should be awake in order to help other people to wake up. And awakening is translated into action. The way we live our daily life is mindful. We live our life in such a way that the future will be possible for our children and their children. When you come to a practice center like Deer Park, you learn two things. The first thing is to be aware of the wonders of life, the refreshing, healing elements inside and around us. We don't waste our opportunity, we don't waste our time, our youth, our life. Mindfulness helps us to get in touch with these positive elements for our nourishment and healing. This is very important. We should not be too busy losing our life in many things that are not important at all. And that is why we should create communities of mindful living, so that the kingdom of God, the pure land of Buddha, can still be available to us. And the second thing we learn when we come to a practice center is to recognize, embrace, and transform the suffering in us. We have emotions, we have fear, we have despair, we have anger. Mindfulness helps us. Mindfulness and breathing help us to recognize them, to take care of them, to embrace them, to bring a relief and to transform them. And that is what we do in the practice. When you have the feeling of anger, of despair, of worries, we should be aware of that energy in us, because if we allow that kind of energy to continue, we will suffer. We will be destroyed by it, by our anger, by our fear, by our despair, by our worry. So breathing in, breathing out in order to be aware of the mental formation in us. My body is a formation, that is a physical formation, biological formation. My anger is a mental formation. My fear is a mental formation. My despair is a mental formation. And I have to be aware of my mental formation in order to bring a relief. With the energy of mindfulness, we can recognize our fear, our anger, our despair. We can embrace tenderly our fear, our anger, our despair, and get a relief, because the energy of mindfulness has the capacity of bringing relief. It has the power of soothing, of relieving. The energy of mindfulness is the energy of the Buddha in us. We can generate that energy by the practice of mindful breathing, mindful walking. That is the practice of samatha. Samatha means to release the tension, to make it lighter, to embrace it tenderly, and finally to stop it in a non-violent way. We cannot stop our anger violently, because anger is already violent. If you add more violence, your anger will increase. So you recognize your anger in a very non-violent way. Breathing in, I know anger is in me. Hello, my dear friend, my little anger, I know you are there. I will take good care of you. You recognize the energy of anger in you. You embrace it tenderly, you smile to it. You don't fight. And with that kind of tenderness, you can bring relief. It's like when you hold your baby brother, your baby sister tenderly, and the baby will suffer less. Exactly the same way. When your cat suffers, if you hold your cat tenderly, the cat will suffer less. When your baby brother suffers, if you know how to hold him or her tenderly, she will suffer less. The same thing is true with your anger, with your despair. Hello, my little anger, you are my friend. I know you are there. I will take good care of you. Hello, my despair. I know you are there. So samatha is to recognize, to embrace tenderly, to reduce the tension, to make it calmer, to release. And finally, to help it stop. Because anger is a process, is a kind of energy that flows. And we can take care of it. We can manage to take care of it. When you practice looking deeply, you see that there's no ground for that kind of fear, anger. Anger and fear are born from our wrong perception. And if we allow anger and fear to dominate, we become violent. We make ourselves suffer, and we make the other person suffer. We create war. That is why it's very crucial to learn how to deal with our anger, our fear, our despair. You know that global warming is real, but you don't allow despair to take over you. You say, awakening is possible. Collective awakening is possible. There is still time for me to act and to help with collective awakening. I use my energy, my time to do that. I don't allow myself to be carried away by despair. Dwell in the present moment. Take good care of the present moment. See what you can do in the present moment. That is the way a Buddha would act. A Buddha would not allow himself to be carried by despair. The present moment is available. You have to take opportunity in order to do something. To refrain from doing the negative thing. Just to refrain from doing a number of things, you can be already helpful. And you begin to do the things that should be done, helping with the collective awakening. That is exactly what Thich tried to do now. He does not allow himself to be carried by this despair. And he wants all of his friends to do the same. Take the opportunity. Right in here and now. Do something. And then the miracle will happen. The collective awakening will happen. And when that happens, surely you'll be saved. You get out of the situation. That is why we should not continue to live in forgetfulness. Coming together in order to help each other to maintain awareness, to maintain awakening. Awakening is the Buddha in person. And with awakening, with the Buddha, we are safe. So please, on the way home, reflect on this. There are things that we can refrain to do. There are things that we can begin to do in order for a future to be possible. Today there are things we can do in order to help bring about the collective awakening. Because every one of us has the state of awakening, Buddha nature. And that is exactly the message of the Buddha. And the young people can do a lot also to contribute to this awakening. They can talk among themselves. They can talk to their teachers, to their parents. And tomorrow I go back to France and I will continue this. And I trust that my friends over here will continue to do this. There is hope. I should not allow us to be carried away by despair. Massage your feet. Sister Châu Nhâm, could you come?